Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Christian, for the KVM status report. Let's go on with QEMU status report. So since last year, we've had 3 releases with a slightly odd choice of release numbers. And the reason for the release numbers is that we decided to have a new scheme where every year we get a new major release with no semantic versioning implicit. We try to have strong backwards compatibility, so don't read too much in the version numbers. But anyway, we are on a pretty good 4 months release cadence where if you check last year's Keynote, even the day in the month are more or less the same. Anyway, releases in December, April, and August seems to be a scheme that works well for both pace of development and keeping the project stable. Actually, 4.0, besides just being the first release in 2019, was also probably a pretty good release because it was the largest ever with almost 3,500 commits. And we've had a lot of new features in 2019, a lot of new also refactorings that took a lot of commits and were finally finished this time. So let's see what we did. This, of course, everybody loves word clouds. I don't know if they are already out of fashion, but they look cool. So this is only done with the first part of the commit messages, the stuff before the colon. So you can see what we work on. We work on hardware, we work on targets, not very surprising, of course. We work on QEMU itself, not bad. And we work on TCG. We work on tests a lot. You can see both tests, where is it? Here, and I/O tests as well in the top, in the middle. So this is the kind of stuff that you can expect. And also let's see the part after the colon so you can see what we do. We fix stuff and we add stuff, so probably the other way around. First we add it and then we fix it. We also support a lot of things and we use a lot of things, but fortunately we also test things. So maybe after fixing it or before, I don't know, but you can get some glimpse into how the development works, not just for QEMU probably, adding and fixing things. Let's look at the highlights though. We have deprecated Python 2 support 1 year in advance compared to the end of life of Python 2. One item that is maybe not the most visible change, but certainly one of the more interesting things is integration with OKConfigure so that you can add new boards without knowing details of all subsystems. And also you can easily build QEMU with a subset of supported boards and devices. And if you think that this is a smart plug of my own talk, you are completely wrong. We have also added a fast boot of x86 guests with PVH, which was contributed by half Oracle and half Red Hat, and also with mapping of the kernels so that you can have multiple guests with limited memory footprint. We also have started a process that will probably take a while, but starting it is always the best thing to have it in the first place. Converting documentation to be based on Sphinx and to have better structured documentation and manuals. And also the last addition from this week, we have started the support for Virtual 1.1. You might have heard about it yesterday from Michael. There were a lot of other talks in the past years about new VirtQ formats and other new things on Virtual 1.1. And this will certainly be useful to push performance on Virtual devices in the future. Also, happily ever after, Kata Containers is now using QEMU after some forks in the past. Now, with the 1.8 release, QEMU is upgraded to QEMU 4.0. So QEMU 4.0 also has this good thing to say about itself. So how do we do the development? We have a lot of continuous integration systems. I could have also inserted the XKCD comic where somebody has 14 standards, and the best thing to improve things is to make 15 standards. So we have 7 continuous integration systems, and maybe we will have 8 next year, I don't know. So each of these tests something different. There is Travis for a lot of build combinations, acceptance tests, covering various guests. We have cross compilers on Shippable. We have BSD compiles on Cirrus. We have GitLab, which is interesting because it also applies to maintainers and developers. So it's not just limited to what ends up in QEMU.git. It can also be used by maintainers to test their own stuff before sending pull requests. We have Coverity, where we are really close to 0 defects. Actually, we sometimes get and then regress and then fix things. We add and fix stuff. We also add Coverity defects and fix them. We have Pachu, which is our beloved tool to apply and test patches that are sent to the mailing list. And also we have the TCG emulation accuracy tests based on Rizu from Linaro. And usually most of them are passing. Sometimes there are issues, which is why we have more than just one. As usual, we have participated in Google Summer of Code and Outreach. We had 5 projects accepted and 4 of them passed. And fuzzing of QEMU for more secure emulation, improving measurement of tiny code generation quality from Vanderson, support for AVX within TCG from Jan, and for Outreach there was IO Uring support for Arushi, and actually some of these have already been merged, especially Arushi and Vanderson have started contributing patches that have gotten in QEMU 4.2. And Alexander is also working on his QEMU fuzzing driver. Also some updates. 2 projects from the previous year have been merged. OKConfigure was actually a project that started in Summer of Code. It took only 6 years to finish it, but we got there. And also the QTest driver framework from last year was also presented at KVM Forum, and it's part of the test that we ran. And QEMU also has the Hall of Fame. Let's start from commits. And Peter Medel just dwarfs everyone else, especially considering that even if you remove the merge commits, he's by far the first in the Hall of Fame in the ranking, followed by David Gibson and myself. So this is not patches written by people, it's patches committed. So mostly ARM people, PowerPC people, and random stuff for myself. If you look at commit authored, though, it's not like it's very much different, because Peter is also there in 2nd place, but this time is Richard Henderson writing a lot of things. And Philippe also comes in 3rd place with a lot of interesting work on refactoring, cleaning things up, and making things more maintainable. So all of these people should be thanked. But before thanking all in the list, let's also look at the reviews. And there, Philippe is also reviewing things at a pace of 2 patches per day, including Saturday, Sunday, and Christmas. Followed by Richard Henderson and also Michael Sirkin. So some people's names are reoccurring, but there's also people that focus more on applying other people's patches. Some people focus more on reviews. So I think it's a balanced mix where everybody can find their place in the community. So what's next? So there are a couple of quizzes here. So what is this? Anybody can guess about it? Yeah, Rust. So there's a lot of buzz about Rust, and we are considering replacing some parts of QEMU with parts written in Rust. It's not going to be a wholesale rewrite. That would not be neither possible, probably, nor a good use of our time. But certainly there are particular places in QEMU where security is more important than other places, and safety especially, and Rust can help for those. So what are these people doing? Pulling. So you can also see, when somebody sends a pull request, it's kind of tug of war between the person sending a pull request and the maintainer rejecting it because it breaks some compilation on some machine. So in order to avoid this, we are also thinking of doing a more automated gating CI so that at least one side is sending the pull request, but it's a machine that is rejecting it, which maybe makes him feel better, I don't know, for not wasting time of Peter or the other release managers. And also this would allow increasing the buzz factor and especially also allowing people to take turns and not have just one person handling all releases. And finally, this is a bit more tricky, but maybe there is some physicist among you, I don't know. Do you know what this guy is? Huh? It's a meson. So one of the things that may be interesting for new QEMU developers is the build system. So we are considering switching or at least starting including a more specialized build system than what we have built over the years with shell scripts and makefiles. So unfortunately, despite my love for it, the choice wasn't AutoConf. I sincerely love AutoConf, but I also think that Meson is a very good build systems, and this could be one that may be in use in the future in QEMU. So thank you, and let's move on to the next part with the talks, and let's start with Livert from Daniel.